despite the presidential duties being so broad, what do you believe to be the most important duty that a president should fulfill? And how do you manage to constantly being responsible for everything despite it not being your job to coordinate every event?
I think the most important duty that the president could fulfill is leading the entire executive board as a person that they could look up to and understand that they can help, that I could be someone that they could rely on. I think the most effective leader is someone that understands everybody's empathetic struggles and everybody's different leadership styles and different strengths and weaknesses in order to make sure that they could thrive as a member of the executive board. Even though it may not be my job to personally micromanage every single person's duties, it is important to help them understand that I could be someone that they could rely on. I think the most effective leader is someone that can that someone can look up to and through times of crisis and also through times of success. I think the best type of leader will be able to show that the entire executive board is a place that the entire executive board should not be a place that they feel threatened or feel uncomfortable in, and they could hopefully have a better time in the future.
All right, for your next question, ABSA is one of, if not the largest student organization on campus outside of Greek fraternities and sororities. ABSA therefore can have a very powerful voice towards any campus-wide issues or referendum. How will you use and mobilize ABSA's large member base in a way that will enact a positive impact on the campus community?
I think the best way to do this is to just understand like how our core values can incorporate the entire GBMer base, because just because we as a board may think a certain way, that does not necessarily mean the entire GBMer voice is the same as us. So I think we need to have a lot of important open communication between our executive board and the rest of the GBMer base in order to help help give us a voice into their struggles. So you could do this through the diversity committee, though it does have its own problems. It is important for us to have our own API voice and have a way to help show that these issues are still present on campus. I am personally a little upset to hear that the APITA Resource Center was only fulfilled this or last year or slightly before the pandemic hit. And it's important that we as a minority group, despite being the model minority, should have our own voices and our own places of representation. I think we should also encourage other members of AAPI communities to run for more AS positions and also vote for AS elections, because these areas of responsibility can give us as students, not just members of the API community, but also members of the entire SDSU community, a voice that we could be heard.
And the third question is, what is the difference between a good president and a great president? What are the qualities and attributes that distinguish these two?
A good president will lead from the front. A good president will be satisfied with completing their goals, and a good president will be able to fulfill their mission statement to the best of the ability. A good president is able to help board members achieve their goals, and a good president will run a successful year in ABSA. However, a great president pushes for future innovation, help lay foundations for new boards, and help make events a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and a lot more fun for both new and existing community members alike. A great president is empathetic to their leaders' struggles. A great president will be able to reach out to new members personally. A great president will be able to be a great, strong leader that other members can look up to through the difficult times and through both the good times and the bad times. A great leader will be somebody who is remembered not just for their events, but also for the impact they made on other people. A great leader will be able to be remembered even years down the line for the amazing work that they have done.
And then for your fourth question, being president requires you to remain impartial when making decisions. As a human being, you will always have your own biases. How are you going to remain impartial while having these biases, especially when disputes get emotional?
I think as a president, it's important to kind of step back a little bit emotionally in terms of running the entire executive board, because you have to be a neutral voice among your board members. I need to emphasize that each and every board member, it doesn't matter what position they hold or how far, or whether they are a top 4 member or a branch member, each position member should have their own voice. Each member should have their own leadership qualities shown to others, and each member should be able to have their own appreciation for their work. I think even if certain values can get disrupted and um, certain values may not be seen amongst each other, it is important for them to all understand that that they are not lesser than other people, that they have their own like strengths, they have their own points, and that they can ultimately contribute to the discussion, and that everyone should be able to understand these and make sure that the space for discussion is as safe and healthy as possible.
And your last question is, it's easy to say that everything is going smoothly, but what are you willing to do to ensure that the well-being of your future board members?
The biggest thing I want to do is create more opportunities to ask for help from me specifically, from not just me specifically, but other advisors as well. I think something that I learned this year was that I as a board member did not specifically ask for help enough, and I tried to take a lot of that on my own. I think being able to rely on someone is the most important thing that someone can go through, because everyone has their own struggles and no one should be able to do everything alone. I think that having them rely on their advisors more, having more one-on-ones, just generally just checking up on people, just seeing how they're doing, how they're facing through life, schoolwork, through ABSA, it's like that could go a long way into helping someone's leadership experience flow through. I think a quote that I heard that was very important to me is that it's okay to be sad, but it's never okay to be sad alone. And I want to be someone who's there for everyone, and no matter how hard they're going through, I want to be empathetic to them.